Oh, what have I done? So it's New Comic Book Day, and I only picked up two because I got a lot of schoolwork to do this week. It's finals week. I'll do this one later. Dread versus Furries. I'll do that one later. It's Furies, I know, but I just when I first saw the cover, I was like, oh, Dread versus Furries. I'm picking that up. So this is Hunt for Wolverine #1. Of course, I bought the white cover because I'm going to find an artist to do this. I'm actually going to have an artist do this before the Action Comics 1000. This is priority. I want this done because I wasn't looking forward to this event, this storyline, until I read this first one. And Charles Soule, David Marquez, and Rachel Rosenberg, curse all three of you because now I have to go buy all of these. This first book was so good. It's so well written. It's even well edited. Right here, Jordan White, aside from, hiring Milkshake 1, he can do his job. This is really well edited. Starts off here with the Reavers, an updated look of the Reavers. And this is really cool. I kind of, in my head a few years ago, I thought of a storyline involving the Reavers where their 1990s, 1980s tech is outdated and they're having so much trouble keeping up to date with, because keeping up with software and hardware is very expensive, and they are supposed to be on the cutting edge, and it's current year 2018 and they're still stuck in the early 2000s, and they're falling on hard times. They're struggling to keep their hardware and their software up, which is a very cool thing, which has made them desperate. And they're going to the cabin where Wolverine is, and they're going to steal some DNA. They're going to steal his adamantium, and they're going to steal DNA to sell it, which is very good writing. It's very cool. Just here, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd say about 4 pages. You basically get, without, there's a little bit of word soup there, but without seeming like a ridiculous amount of talking, you get caught up on what's going on with the Reavers and the situation they're in and why they're doing it. And that's really good story editing. There's a couple other points in this book where I'm just like, wow, that was really good story editing. That's really good storytelling and really good story editing. It kept the pace of this moving. And so they're going in there to get Wolverine, and they trip some alarms, and they got this is definitely A-list big X-Men coming to kick their butts. Fight ensues. We get a little bit of flashback on Wolverine, and I don't want to show too much of that. I don't want to spoil it. It's pretty cool, the stuff that goes on in this. And once again, I'm trying not to spoil this. I'm going to skip some stuff. The fight is great. The movement and the pacing and the back and forth of the fight is so good. It even explains part of the storytelling and the story editing is in these, as it's going through the action, it's basically saying, okay, this is the Reavers, and this is why the Reavers are a problem, because they constantly update themselves, and whenever you fight a Reaver, they're always going to throw something new at you. So you begin the fight on the defensive. So they can come in really quick. And that's always been their thing, is that first strike that they do, they always have new weapons and new tactics and upgraded stuff. They always had. So it was very difficult to react. They always put the X-Men, as powerful as they are, always put them on their heels. There's a new Reaver. This one, it's basically a helicopter. This is basically their transport. I've never seen that one before. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if it is. And apparently, she's a lesbian. I don't know. She's a helicopter and a lesbian, which might be new ground for Marvel in their in their writing of female characters. Yeah, I don't want to spoil the conclusion of that, and I don't want to spoil the flashback. So I'm being very careful as to what I show, and I don't think I'm going to show a whole lot more of this because I want you to move the needle. I want you to go out and buy this. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to cut this short. There's really good... I'm not going to do any more of this. I want you guys to go out and buy this. There's a lot of other factors. Look how thick this is. There's a lot of other factors in this book that I want to talk about, but I don't want to risk spoiling it at all. The art is great, except for... You can tell at the end... I mean, the art is... Look at this. This is Marvel. This is a return to Marvel. Look at this. Foreground, middle ground, background. Setting, background. This would have been... In other Marvel comics nowadays, if this weren't such a special event, this would have been just nothing. It would have been just floating in this pink aether. Foreground, middle ground, background. All drawn, all beautiful. This looks like a really good comic from the early 2000s of Marvel. This whole thing. The layouts, the action sequence, the way it leads your eye down into from here to there, down into that. Really got to give credit where credit's due on. Oh, I'm not going to show you that on these things. So let's go over here while I find a page. The only problem I have is it gets to the end, and there's a kind of an ending story that leads into the next one. And look at this. This art is so much different than what it starts with. Here we go with the floating in space. No foreground. She is the foreground, and then they just kind of cheap out on the middle ground and the background. In this last bit, they do quite a bit of that. So I'm really happy that this is starting out really cool, and I'm going to pick it up. Here's the crappy part. Soleil, he's really good. He's a good writer. I think he's a good writer. This is the only thing that I can think of that I've read of his in a while. I really can't remember what he's done before. So now I have to buy all these other comics. And, oh my God. Jim Zub, who his recent work has been very, very dull and very flat. Mariko Tamaki, who cannot write her way out of a paper bag. She should, oh gosh. I would say she should be on like My Little Pony, but if you've seen Mim Headroom's reviews of My Little Pony is probably one of the best written comic books, bar none, right now, going on. Just like, I know there's not, the bronies are kind of embarrassing now, but yeah, I would say that Mariko Tamaki should be writing My Little Pony, but that would be diminishing the quality of My Little Pony right now. And then, of course, Mr. Paycheck Taylor, who is basically just writing to pick up a paycheck. Okay, so now I got to go buy all this stuff because I want to follow the story. I want to see where it goes. And the beginning was so very good. I want to see what the rest of this. I wasn't excited for this series. I just thought it was another event. I have been recorded saying many times after the death of Wolverine. I've said, did we ever really lose Wolverine? I mean, we got. Sure, Wolverine was quote-unquote dead, but we got a time-displaced Wolverine after Secret Wars. And then we have X-23, who is supposed to be Wolverine, Honey Badger, who's a clone of a clone, who I really was hoping would be a little more like the clone of a clone in Multiplicity, but instead they made her like a strangely overly sexualized child, which is weird writing. And then we got Jimmy Hudson, and then Draken started coming back around in comics. So I've said for a long time, I mean, did we ever really lose Wolverine? I mean, they killed Wolverine off, but then we wound up with a whole lot more Wolverine knockoffs and sons and clones and even a time-displaced Wolverine. So it's like we never really lost Wolverine. But, oh my God, now I gotta go buy this storyline to see what's going on with... Yeah, Mr. Paycheck and Mariko Paperbag Tamaki and Jim Zub, who hopefully this will be good. Hopefully this will, I don't know, maybe it'll be good. Maybe they'll put in some decent work, because Taylor and Tamaki and Zub are not the drivers of this storyline. The drivers of this storyline are right here. once again, credit where credit's due. All of this was beautiful. This was a very, very good comic book. And it's very refreshing to see from Marvel. They figured out, hey, we know how to make good comic books. Just make them look like they did back in the 2000s. And there you go. So, thanks for watching. I'm Nerdicane. That's a pretty cool cover. I kind of like that. But they spoiled it because they used this as the... Actually, you know what? Wow, I just noticed that. DNC will probably make this. His fist is at an angle like this, but his claws are going straight up. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at a weird perspective, but it just seems like his claws should be going this way with a little bit of foreshortening because they're coming at you this way. I don't know. I'm picking this apart, but this is kind of very interesting cover. But of course, I bought the white one, and now I got to see who's coming to DragonCon who will draw this properly for me. But I digress. Thanks for watching. My name is Nerdicane. You can hit me here, or you can hit me on Twitter. Move the needle with this. I think this is. Oh God, this is what should be going on. This is what we should be getting monthly from Marvel Comics, but it turns out that we only get this level of quality when it's a big event like this. But yeah, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time, about 11.5 minutes. But thank you for watching. Go move the needle with this. As always, if you go out and buy this because I suggested, please do a move the needle at the crew who made this, at Marvel Comics. And have a good day. Thanks.